It's 7 o'clock. We call the Fort Morgan School District Board meeting to order on April 15th, 2024. Call to order, please.
Chris Brown? Here. Amy Grantham?
Here.
Nancy Hopper?
Here.
Katie Jess?
Here.
John Prouty?
Here.
Katie Smith? Here. Sarah Whitney?
Here. Pledge of allegiance, please. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You have before you the board minutes from April 1st. Pleasure of the board. Move to approve. Second. It's been moved and approved. All those in favor, roll call, please.
Chris Brown?
Aye.
Amy Grantham?
Aye.
Nancy Hopper?
Aye.
Katie Jess? John Prouty?
Aye.
Cindy Smith? Sarah Whitney?
Section E, agenda. Is there a pleasure of the board? Move to approve. Second. Roll call.
Chris Brown? Aye. Amy Grantham?
Aye.
Nancy Hopper?
Aye.
Katie Jess? John Prouty?
Aye.
Cindy Smith? Sarah Whitney?
Perfect. All right, section 2, special presentation A. We have Mr. Marcus here to give us a little bit of a presentation. Welcome.
Did you get my slides? I'm just kidding. It was going to be a 45-minute presentation. But
Oh.
I guess I'll keep it to 5 minutes since you don't have that. Good evening, everyone. My name is Lucas Devlin, as was stated. And before I dive into the details of my first 6 months here at Fort Morgan as the district athletic director, I just want to extend a heartfelt thank you to a couple people. Firstly, I want to express my gratitude to the school board members here present tonight for your unwavering support and guidance. Your commitment to our students and athletic programs is truly commendable, so thank you so much. I also want to thank our superintendent and our assistant superintendents for your leadership and vision, which have been instrumental in the shaping the direction of the athletic department. To the principals, assistant principals, teachers, and staff at both the high school and middle school, thank you for your dedication to our student athletes. Your hard work behind the scenes does not go unnoticed, and it's a crucial part of our success. A special thanks goes out to not only my athletics secretary, Amber, but all secretaries at both schools as they help me out with so many different things. Their organization, efficiency, and dedication to keep our operations running smoothly is amazing, and I'm truly grateful for all that they do. I know that the vision of this position was to kind of create a bridge between the middle school and high school. I know that bridge is probably not yet built, but I think we're on the right path to go in that direction. So to start out at the middle school, we have some great staff, great coaches that we built programs with. I obviously kind of jumped in at an unusual time, kind of in between sports, so I didn't get to experience a lot. But I know that we have a lot of potential with our coaches, with our student athletes, to go in a direction that's going to help build our programs into the future. Same thing at the high school. I commend you all who are here in the hiring of the staff that we have currently. It's great to have a lot of those staff that are in building, and I appreciate that a lot, and I want to help build on that success, getting teachers, getting whatever staff in the school district becoming coaches, head coaches and assistant coaches. I think that's amazing. So I want to continue down that path. Some things that I want to continue building upon that I haven't really touched quite yet in my 6 months is just community engagement. My brief tenure, I've tried to prioritize community engagement by hosting parent meetings, attending booster club meetings, and creating fundraisers to help support our sports programs. We've collaborated with local businesses and organizations to secure sponsorships and resources for all the teams, and I definitely want to continue that as well. Some future goals. Looking ahead, I'm committed to further enhancing our sports programs by investing in facilities, expanding coaching staff, and providing additional resources for student athletes. I want to continue to prioritize the holistic development of our athletes, both on and off the playing field, and fostering a culture of excellence and sportsmanship. In conclusion, my first 6 months, and I can't believe it's been that long as district athletic director at Fort Morgan, have been incredibly rewarding. I'm proud that of the progress that we've made across our high school and middle school sports programs, and I'm excited about the future of athletics in our district. Again, thank you for your support, and I look forward to continuing our journeys and success together. Are there there any questions?
No, but thank you for all your hard work.
Yeah.
It's made a difference
Good.
in a lot of programs.
Good.
Go ahead, question.
Sure.
How are you managing your time? Because I really don't know the answer.
Yeah.
How are you managing kind of your time between the middle school and the high school? One.
Yeah.
And two, do you see a large turnover with our coaching staff this year as we're moving into spring and what that might look like?
For sure. Yeah, the first question has been my struggle, and I've talked to the principals at both schools about this. Obviously, my main headquarters, I would say, is at the high school, and I'm there probably 95% of the time. My goal is to try to get over to the middle school as much as possible, and I feel like I failed at that. I try to get over there as much as possible because I want to be visible to the kids, because I think they need to see who I am and what I do for them and know that I'm there to support them. So ultimately, time right now is 90-10, I would say, and I want to get that more to like an 80-20. Mainly the events over there aren't as much, but I want to make sure that we're supporting them just as much as I do for the high school. Second part of the question, turnover, I haven't seen a lot of that yet. And like I mentioned in my briefing there, I think we did a good job, you all did a good job of hiring teachers and staff that are in the district that are coaches, and that helps retain and keep them around. And I think the head coaches that we do currently have are helping support the younger teachers and staff members of the district that are assistant coaches to give them larger roles, which wants to keep them around longer. So I think we have a good foundation laid, and I just want to keep building upon that.
And I appreciate your honesty.
Yeah.
I know you didn't come on, I believe it until
October, it was not an ideal time.
No,
yeah.
it was not.
Yeah.
And so I think we need to have some grace in
Sure.
getting the program
Yeah.
ironed out and getting it all to now the way we want it.
Yes.
I appreciate all you've done. I
Yeah.
understand the conundrum, but you're doing a great job and we appreciate what
Thank
you're
you.
doing. I just wanted to clarify some.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. Appreciate
So-
that.
One thing I wanted to add too is having attended a couple of these meetings, because I do have student athletes.
Yeah.
One of the things that I thought was absolutely fabulous was empowering the athletes to go to their coaches and getting the proverbial helicopter parents out of it, so that the athletes are the ones that are learning to advocate for themselves.
Yeah.
So we don't have this parental conflict going on.
No, and that's huge. I mean, every school that I've been at thus far, there's always those parents, they're going to want to have their say. But if we're trying to build, young leaders and young adults that are going to be successful in the community, which a lot of them are probably going to stick around and not venture too far out, we want them to have the capabilities and abilities to fend for themselves. in
So I
those
really love
situations.
that about
Yeah,
the program. Is
thank
it's building that leadership among the athletes.
For sure.
And teaching them to advocate for themselves.
Yes.
So pride.
Even I struggle with that. So, yeah, so it's definitely.
Your wife doesn't come.
Yeah. Yeah, no doubt about it.
Well, it's a bumpy road, but you're going to continue to grade it. as it's
Definitely.
smooth, So
Yeah,
you're
for
doing
sure.
a great job.
Thanks. Any other questions? We good? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lucas.
Okay, section 3A, public comments. Yay, no? No. Okay, 4 reports, the Board of Education Communication Guidelines. To the public, those of you that are looking at this is a document that we, the board, with the superintendent and case executive director, Brett Miles, have worked on, and these are the kind of the things that we believe are our communication guidelines as a board working together. We know that it takes all of us, not any one of us individually, makes decisions, and so how we conduct ourselves and moving forward as a team for the benefit of the district, the staff, and the students, and promoting the welfare of our community. So I think a lot went into this, and so I appreciate the document. Anybody else want to? And Kenya, look, she's here.
I was not supposed to be.
We're gonna put you on the spot anyway.
It's okay, I'm ready. So this week at the high school, there's PSAT and SAT testing, so it's a big week at the high school for sure. Bank of Colorado had their Diamond and Rising Star Awards, and we had 4 students from the high school get those, so that's really exciting. USA FA Band Ensemble will be coming to the high school and playing with the jazz band and the symphonic orchestra this week, which is a really exciting opportunity for us. Girls soccer has a home game on Thursday at 5:30. Baseball has a home game next Tuesday at 4. And then girls senior tennis, well, let me try again. Girls tennis has their senior night next Thursday at 4 o'clock. And then next week is prom week, so that's also a really big week. Saturday is the dance, and then 7 o'clock is Grand March, so everybody can come and see everybody's dresses and what everyone looks like. And then all week next week, Spirit Club is doing like different dress-up days, similar to how we do for homecoming. And then the final thing I have is that there's a Mustang Film Festival happening on May 2nd.
Film festival, where are they going to?
So Mr. Blake, he's an English teacher in our class, puts it on. I guess it's the 3rd year that we've done it. And I think they like student-directed films. I have never been, but that's the idea that
We might want to see some of them.
Yeah, I think it's at 3 o'clock is what it said. I'm not sure.
Well, I'm talking here.
Yeah.
I can go there too, but.
Yeah.
Perfect. Next, section C, the board reports. I'll start with Chris. We went to, some of us went to New Orleans for the National School Board Association's National Convention. It was in New Orleans, a bad place to go, really bad. But we went there, and so some of us are going to report out that ones of us that went. I'll start with Chris.
Okay, it was a fabulous weekend. It was awesome. It was awesome. Thank you for letting us go, for letting me go. It was just wonderful. We did a lot of team building, did a lot of talking, did a lot of good food. We went to a restaurant where the waiter put our napkins on our laps. That was so cool. That was so cool. The general sessions, the first one was Ruby Bridges, and she was the first black girl that went into a white school, and she was phenomenal. And there were some high school girls that sang before that session started, and they were breathtaking. I thought breathtaking. Dressed a little scantily, but they were awesome. They were awesome. And the next night was a guy whose name, or the next day, the general session was a guy whose name was
Timothy Schreiber.
Timothy Schreiber. And thank you for posting or putting that up here, because he was incredible. And what great ideas. He talked about dignity and treating people with respect and how to react to different things that are being said and done. And he was awesome. It was just it was really an awesome weekend, and thank you guys for taking good care of me and making sure I got to where I needed to be and didn't have to walk a lot. And it was great. It was a trip of a lifetime.
Okay.
So obviously the general sessions are always incredible. The keynote speakers definitely spark a fire in ways we can improve. The music that was musical and the theater dancers were pretty incredible. Let's see, they're very talented young women. I encourage you, if you do not know who Ruby Bridges is, to Google her and listen to her story, because her humbleness was very inspiring on that stage, and obviously an encouragement to anyone that was in that room. So I attended several breakout sessions, but one piece of information that stuck out to me was from a trauma session. The trauma session was called Finding a New Normal, Using Trauma-Informed Practices to Support Diverse Student Populations. I always tend to lead to trauma sessions with our foster care backgrounds, just because I did a lot of TBRI training, and I just feel like the human brain is an incredible organ that can be remolded. So they talked about a lot of sensory triggers in buildings, smells, the colors of the walls, even just noises, and how to help children to navigate those triggers. But I think the one thing that stuck out to me most from that session was a gentleman from Oakland, California talked about their SRO officers. And a lot of children are triggered by a law enforcement in their building in uniform. And their law enforcement is not in uniform. They are just in a polo that says SRO officer. But what I found very interesting was they don't just use that as a resource for kids. They use those SRO officers in the classrooms, and they teach a class on criminal justice, law enforcement, and different things to build that relationship with children, that good relationship with children. So I found that very resourceful. Just some food for thought, maybe for us, because we've been navigating that. And as always, I enjoy networking with other board members. I talk to people from all over New Jersey, Georgia, Alabama, New Orleans, California, New York. It's just incredible to listen to their struggles, their resolutions, and their ideas on how they are working on towards the improvement of their districts. So I thank you for giving us the opportunity to go. We did try some alligator. We did not get ate by an alligator. We did try an alligator, so that's a plus. And we did get robbed to try some seafood. So that was another win in my book. So no.
I did try.
You did.
So, you're right, Nikki's right, and plus Chris, it was an excellent workshop. There were 4,000 in attendance there, so it's a very large workshop. And of course, at the convention center, from our hotels, it was clear on the opposite end of the convention center. So when we said we had to hike, I mean, we were hiking a long ways. The gentleman that you see up here, or that we're talking about here, is Dr. Lee Pretzel, and he, it was one of the presentations I went to, and it was just really phenomenal. The crowd, it was a packed house, and so I visited with him, and we kind of exchanged cards, and he got a hold of me and gave us a discount price on his books. And so I contacted Rob, and so we got his books. He's personalized every one and signed it to all of us individually. We'll save these for the summer, maybe kind of do a little bit of a book study on them, but you'll all have your own, and I think we have an additional one that we can leave in the boardroom as maybe a guide for future board members. And so that was Dr. Lee Pretzel. One of the other, well, I went a day early for CASB. So, and the purpose of my going early was to attend the Rural Education Summit, which is a half a day. And it was rural education leaders from across the nation talking about a lot of the struggles that we have with teacher retention, recruitment, lack of resources, and so forth. So special education and programs, broadband, internet. So it was a very rich discussion as far as some of the presenters. I think it was actually the very first one that they've ever done. So there were a few things that I think they realized maybe they need to do differently or better. But at least they're acknowledging us as a rural unit at the national area as a body in and of ourselves to have some ideas addressed. Thursday afternoon, again, I was there, and that was what we have our delegate assembly at the national level. And so really it was just kind of cleaning up like what we did with our Colorado Association bylaws. We did a lot of cleaning up and getting those where they needed to be. This was a session I went to. It was Ready, Set, Govern. And it had, I don't know if you can kind of click through those. It had that, here's the first one. Everything we do is together as a team, that we roll as a board and so forth. And then you'll go on to the next one. There were a couple slides in here that I thought were really good. There's the role of the board and how we work together. You'll click on the next slide. An effective governance team equals a successful district. And I didn't put all the slides in here, I just picked out a few. But I really like this one, and it doesn't come across very good, but it says school board governs what we do on this side as to what the superintendent manages. And so it kind of laid it out side by side, and I thought, well, that's really a simple way to look at it. So decides what, decides how. We decide what we want to do or how we want to go forward with something, and then Rob's job is to how are we going to do that? How are we going to put those things into play? And so it was really a pretty cool workshop. Next slide. I think there were just a couple more. And the community, how the community sees us and building that trust. And so the school trustees and the superintendent, and we work together with trust and respect, and then the community can see that, and so it plays off together. The two-lane highway, again, with governance and administration. policy, maintaining the vision and the goals, and so forth, just what those roles are in different formats of what we do. Next. The chain of command, we've talked about this. Trust begins with the chain of command, not overstepping our bounds. And sometimes that's really hard for us. It's hard for me sometimes when individuals call, but making sure that if we're following that chain of command, that the outcome usually is better. We get some questions answered and decisions made that are more lucrative and productive. And then characteristics of teams, which kind of goes along with what we've talked about before when we met with Brett. The teams exist to achieve shared goals. Members are interdependent. We are bound for a specific time period. The authority and ability to establish an internal process. We do our work in a larger social context. So, and then just working together, the strategic plan, our yearly goals. Only one employee reports to the board, and that's Rob. And then the superintendent engages the board in decision making. So I thought it was just a very good workshop, not only for maybe a beginner coming into the position at the board, but a good layout for some of us that have been here a while. Not old, I'm not going to say that, but we've been in the loop for a while just to refresh. But yeah, these are our lanes and so forth. I thought it was pretty good. The board requests the district info to go through the superintendent. Individual board members have no authority to direct the superintendent. It's a board motion. And the communication from the superintendent usually goes to all board members. And that's the way we do it here. We appreciate Rob doing that with us. No surprises, dignity and respect, agenda setting, and we focus on policy issues that we can address, as well as programming. So there's that cycle. Won't spend much time on that. Rob's very well at that, as you are, when we do our goal setting and evaluation. And I think that was it. Yeah. And so then Chris alluded to this. This was or Timothy Shriver. He's Timothy Kennedy Shriver. That's the Timothy Shriver we're talking about. And he said, yeah, I'm not here for a political stand one way or the other, but we've got so much contempt in the world today that anything you say or anything people say, there's so much contempt and going back and forth. And so, and there were a lot of workout sessions. I didn't realize it until after I listened to him, that there were some board work sessions that went over this, and actually some of the school boards have adopted the process. Maybe it was in this one. Let me look down. So there's a scoring guide that he had. Can you scroll on that one down? There was a scoring guide of how people talk to each other. One of the things, and it's so from you're not even human. I don't even acknowledge that you exist. And with some of the derogatory comments that can be made, down to, if you scroll on down to, it goes down to 8, that everyone is born with inherent worth. I may not have to agree with you, I don't have to agree with you, but I can still treat you with respect. And what we really need to be shooting for is a 5. And that some districts are adopting this policy and working together amongst themselves to address things this way. And they put it into their board statements, which I think really melds well with our stuff that we've done. And then having trainings at school with kids about, having those discussions. So I found there was a lot of other ones. Ruby Bridges, of course, as Mindy Breck, she was the 6-year-old that when her parents decided to desegregate and she was asked to go to an all-white school when the FBI and all of the was to there. And she was just so graceful. And someone asked her a question and she said, well, I was 6. And she didn't really have much choice in this, but just her humbleness and her demeanor. And so being the teacher that I am, I went out and bought 3 of her books for children so that I can have my grandchildren read those books on Ruby Bridges, because everybody needs to know that strife and just personal, coming from the South. And as old as I am and my parents, I can remember some of those discussions that occurred. So that's my report, Rob.
Wow, that's a lot to follow up on there. But first, I was there too. I really enjoyed the
Were
trip.
you?
Yeah. I really enjoy the time I get to spend with board members, both last year and this year, to just get to know each other a little bit on a different level. I don't really want to repeat what everybody said, but I do want to point out a couple things. And I think I really like the themes that go on at these national conferences. And they're all about diversity, inclusion, equity, and I feel that's very important. And so, the Ruby Bridges conversation, it was very powerful for me because I got sent out of the Brown versus Board of Education in Topeka, and that's what started our whole desegregation across the United States, and that's what got us where we're at today. And to me, I can't imagine how people felt back then to keep a specific child out of the classroom just because of the color of their skin, and it just really kind of breaks my heart to even think about it, that we had done that at one time. And you know, one of the things she said that really stuck with me is that she said when she walked up to the building, there were all these National Guard, there was the governor of the state, there was all these people there just spewing hate and anger. But she said, once I got into that classroom, that teacher had nothing for me but love. And that really resonated with me a lot, because that tells us the power that our educators have every single day. Because no matter what's going on outside there, as long as we're creating a safe space for whomever in that classroom, it's going to be a powerful experience for those children. And I think it went really well with the other stuff the next day with Schreiber, in that, you know, his biggest theme was, you're right, there is a lot of contempt and a lot of hate going on in our country right now. And his big theme was reject the hate and the contempt, but embrace understanding and dignity. And I really like that, because I think his message was that not one person can do it, but until one person does it, none of us are going to do it. And so, very powerful sessions for me. Really enjoyed spending time down there, and yes, I did like them putting the napkin in my lap too. But anyway, well worth it to go down. Thank you all for attending. Thank you for having us there. I probably jumped in front of the rest of you that wanted to do a board report, but so I'll just go on with mine if you don't mind.
Absolutely, I think we're good, yeah.
The Teacher Appreciation Week. Want to point out that's going to be May 6th through 10th this year. We have, we want you to get in touch with Bev to see which school you'd like to go to during that week to honor our teachers. So in the next few days, if you don't mind giving Bev a quick email, give you a preference of where you'd like to be and where you'd like to go during that week, we can get that organized for you. And I realize that Teacher Appreciation Week is just this national thing that we're all supposed to stop and appreciate our teachers for 1 week. But truly, I believe we do a good job of appreciating our teachers all year. And I'm just really thankful for all the staff that we have and the opportunities we have with existing incoming staff for this upcoming school year. So that's my report, unless you have something else for me.
He, Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum and Assessment.
Good evening. I wanted to just highlight something that Kenya said in her report about the Bank of Colorado Award. So this is the first year that the Bank of Colorado, they approached me back in September, October. Cam Armagost had this idea to recognize students in Morgan County. So it wasn't just Fort Morgan students, so Fort Morgan, Brush, Weldona, and Wiggins. And the goal was to get at least 2 underclassmen for a Rising Star Award, and then 2 seniors for this Diamond Award. So both seniors got a $250 scholarship. So I did take a picture. I need to get it on social media with Stephanie, but Presley Seabrands and Gavin Taylor got the senior awards, and then Chase Prouty and Brogan Padgett got the Rising Star Awards. So the goal for, I think, CAM and the Bank of Colorado is to grow this event to make it more of an annual event. So it was pretty cool, and the keynote speaker was the school counselor out of Otis, and he did a tremendous job. So it was a nice evening recognizing students who just stand out. So that was cool. I have preschool curriculum on my list to just chat about briefly. Tara and I have been in touch, and one thing that we recognize is we don't really analyze preschool curriculum maybe as often as we should. And she approached me a couple weeks ago and said, hey, we really want to universally buy some curriculum as we're seeing newer folks in programming, right, to be in front of kids. I was like, that is a good point. We don't actually have preschool as part of our curriculum review cycle every 6 years. And so the idea sort of is, hey, we're going to explore some opportunities because we want to get curriculum into the hands of preschool teachers and hopefully sooner rather than later. And Nancy, you'll just appreciate because creative curriculum came up. And so we used creative curriculum in Head Start. Anyhow, we're definitely, I don't know what other preschool curriculums even exist because usually when I'm looking K-12. So just so you know, we're having those conversations with Tara and the preschool. And I don't really have assessment updates, crossing our fingers and toes for no connectivity issues this week. We had a few glitchy spots last week, nothing super major, but as we're going digital with PSAT, SAT at the high school this week, I'm hoping that we just smooth sailing. We have seen a handful of opt-outs. I would not say more than usual. I don't really put it out there, but when people call and ask, or if people are asking administration, we do actually have parents or guardians sign off on those forms, and we keep them for 5 years. That's just, and then we code them out at the end of the window. And the other thing that we are, and I don't know if I mentioned this to the board prior, so I apologize if I already did, but the state has done a really, a bigger push this year because all of the districts are seeing a large increase of newcomers on exempting, like what qualifies them to be exempted from state assessments. And so there's like this whole, and if you're wanting to look at it, I'm happy to send it to you, but Shelly and I have worked through, she's monitoring every single newcomer that's come in this year, what country they're from, if they've had formal schooling, and that we can exempt them without getting penalized for exempting them. And so we are doing a handful of those things, especially with younger elementary students. We're just keeping a list. And so they've always allowed you to exempt students from English language arts, but they've kind of opened up a little bit more with that. And then along with that, just because I'm thinking about it, and I hadn't even talked to Rob, but we are going to come into a little bit of one-time money for newcomers. I'm guessing it was a real big push from some of the larger districts who have seen really large numbers of newcomers, and so working through a list of, there's like a 3-week window from February anyway. So always thankful for money, but jumping through the hoops to get there sometimes is a lot of fun. So those are happening. And then I haven't really heard it from really any of the grants that I've applied for, but just know that we are coming into the time where we're looking at federal programs, and I'm very curious still from the state on how they're going to allocate us resources based on universal free lunch. We've always allocated monies based on schools' free reduced lunch rate. I've been actually using the poverty rate, if you remember, like I've been using kind of pre-COVID, and so I'm very curious to see what's happening. I don't see our funding going down necessarily, but I don't know the strategy moving forward. So I'm kind of keeping up on that. So any questions for me?
I have a quick question about the newcomer monies. What are the eligibility requirements for a district to receive those, if you could just speak briefly?
A whole bunch. Basically, the requirements, they just have to meet the definition of newcomer. And so those would be newly arriving students to our district from another country. So like we kind of deem the newcomer, right, as they haven't been in school for very long, but the state's definition's a little different. They sent like this PowerPoint or these slides on navigating through like what options you have, but I do think a lot of it came from, and Rob jumped in, I do think that a lot of this came to the forefront because we base all of our per pupil revenue on October count. It's always a struggle for me personally because I know how many students we've received since October, not just newcomers. And I feel like they've always been trying to push doing like a separate kind of count window, and they've never done that. So I don't even actually know where the newcomer monies are coming from, Rob.
So the way I understand it is that for years that we've pushed, well, there's been certain superintendents in the state who've pushed for 2 count days. So you have October 1, and they want to do another one in the spring.
Yeah.
And that's been kind of a battle for many, many years. And the reason being is that it takes so much time and energy, and it costs so much to do it, that, and then the money just becomes spread around, and you can't really count on really what the final budget's going to be, and that just makes it more difficult. And so DPS, I believe it was, Alex Morero, I believe is his name, it came out with a proposal. They're seeing some increases in students coming from outside of our country. And so I think it's 25 million, is that correct?
I feel like it is about.
25 million, and they're going to disperse it to those schools who are impacted the most. I believe it's something that they either take out of the state education fund, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I know that others who are not seeing the influx that maybe we are, or DPS or other urban areas are seeing, are not necessarily in favor of it, because the thing is that everybody needs money at this point. And so we have signed, and Friday was the day. They literally sent me Friday morning an email and said, you gotta sign this if you're interested by Monday. I got the email Friday. I sent back, we're interested in exploring it, and we don't have to accept or reject or anything until, I think, the 24th of April, I believe,
Yeah,
is
the
the
23rd.
date. 23rd of April is when we can actually sign a form that says we'll either accept the money or we won't accept the money. But I just talked to Tony about, can we look into what the ramifications are like?
And it is it's House Bill 24-1389. They literally just passed it.
Yeah,
It was like the
it's-
tightest turnaround I've seen CDE
It is a fast
probably
one.
ever do.
And I'm surprised at how quickly they're making us turn things around, because it was like, I can't even really, I got it on my notes right here, I sent you an update tomorrow on it. So.
It has to be finalized by May 1st. It really is. I just never seen something come out
I'm
like
not surprised.
so quickly
No, it's a quick
and
turnaround.
cycle back that fast.
And I don't know if I feel like it's a good thing in terms of opening that window to a multiple count day, or if it's a bad thing. You know, when I was in a smaller district, one count day seemed to be fine, but now in a district that has higher mobility, I'm not so sure that multiple counts would be such a terrible thing after all. So, I guess it depends on what scheme you have in the game and how you kind of look at it. So, we'll see more developing as it goes.
I will say, when we were in Washington DC with CAPSI, and we went to the legislators, they were the ones that brought a lot of that up with our Colorado contingency of the legislators and so forth, asking about the impact, particularly in rural areas and the counts. So that was kind of interesting, having it come from them to us. And we knew that that was already kind of getting ready to go to LRC, the Legislative Resolutions Committee Council. So it's been an interesting process to kind of watch from my standpoint. But yeah, that's why I said I'm not surprised.
So quick follow-up question. So would this grant, or, would these monies allow or encourage us to, I guess, encourage more mobility into the district, or would it just be something that would help us support the students that we already?
That's exactly what it's
seeing?
for. It's
Okay.
it's for supporting the students that are here. And why the 3-week? They chose like this 3-week window in February. In fact, like 1 week after that, I think we had 10 more students that we maybe could have counted had the window been a little longer. I don't know why they chose that 3-week window, but yeah, I see the one-time monies being just that. That's why they're giving districts money, is to support the education of the kiddos that we have in newcomer programming.
Thank you. 4F, Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources.
Good evening. We've got a number of things in front of you tonight from our office. The personal action report, I'm more than happy to answer any questions that you may have there. It is a little bit longer with some renewals and movement there. No big surprises. in regards to staff leaving the district. We've had just a small number that maybe we hadn't anticipated, but that's been a very small number, which has been nice. And so that's in front of you. Active openings right now, we've got 20 certified positions open, 2 district directors or admin positions that are open, 7 classified and 1 coaching, as well as our just standing resumes and sub positions. We also have the big night of recommendations for advancement for all of our certified staff. And so those are also for your actions tonight and are up to date for the schools as we will recommend for next year. Negotiations are going well. Enjoy working with both of those groups. Our next meetings with ACP are on this April 17th. April 30th was FMEA. And the only other thing that I didn't have on my original agenda, that I just want to touch base on, CDE has a new requirement this year that came out before Christmas, and they call it E-Train. E-Train is the expectation that all evaluators, administrators that use RANDA and evaluate certified staff need to go through. I can't remember one since I was about 18 years ago when RANDA was first coming out. And so I think it's good that we're going through that. There are 2 parts to it. E-Train 1, the administrator can do on their own. It's a 4 to 6 hour online training, self-paced. And then E-Train 2, after you pass that, you get a number of emails. And then I offered to host E-Train Part 2 here on April 29th. So next Monday, we'll host that here. We'll have all of our staff, administrators and our staff, as well as a number across the state that will be coming and joining us. We'll have about 50 plus individuals here, administrators, and CDE will come out to that training for us. And that's a full day, 8-hour training. We'll host that at the middle school. So looking forward to that. It is a requirement for principals or administrators to renew their licenses. And so I'm glad that we were able to grab that here at the district level and support our staff here with the highway travel to other places in the state. So any questions on personal stuff?
Busy, thank you.
Thank you.
4G, Chief Financial Officer.
Good evening. Something I wanted to inform you about that happened April 4th and 5th. Several months ago, Glenn Gustafson and Mark Ryerberg, my guys from CDE, contacted me and they wanted to do a finance training here in our office, using this boardroom and then our small boardroom for a breakout session. Well, they had such a huge response. They had 55 people that wanted to come from around the state. So we had to have the training over at the field house. And a big shout out to Bev and the IT department because they don't have a kitchen over there. We had to cater food. We had to take a Promethean board over. They got all hooked up for us. But it was a really great training, and it's a great way to connect with other people in finance. And then you have someone you can say, I need help with this. Can you help me understand this? Those 2 men are just excellent resources for me. They get back to you just like that if you have a question. So just wanted you to know that CDE was just really thrilled with us that we were able to put that together. And then looking at financials, the 6-month ones as of 12/31, I sent you some comments to maybe help you roadmap through this. Just as an overview, the first 3 columns are historical data for an entire year. Those are audited years. The last column is the budget that was approved in January. And then we have the financials we looked at for the 3-month and the 6-month, and then just comparing, if you take the final budget divided by 2, where are we found, what's the pulse of the district as of now? We're always going to have a disconnect when it comes to local revenue because of the timing of property taxes. But something that, if you're a nerd and you like numbers, page 3 will detail for you like local revenue. Well, what is that? And it'll list every single thing that falls into local revenue. Property taxes, SO taxes, tuition, various things like that. It breaks it out by section so you can say, oh, that's what that number is. And then looking at the expenditures, I'm going to clean this up a little bit so it's a little bit easier to follow on these sheets. But the instructional services includes teachers, special education, and the support staff, which if you go back to these pages, up in the corner, it'll tell you the program. Instructional is 11, 12, 13, 14, and 19. So you have to add all those together to come up with that instructional number. But I think these are very useful to say, okay, well, how much have we been paying teachers historically? Where are we at? And then you can break it out into the special education. And I'm hoping to provide you with information so you can make decisions and know kind of where we're at in the district. The mill levy fund, we're under budget by 220 on expenditures at this time, but the next month is when the buses came in, so that'll flip-flop and we'll be on track there. Daycare fund is under the projected deficit of 74,000, something that Mark Ryerberg has been discussing with me, and I'm not sure if this is a board approval thing. There's a number of funds that we have that he recommends rolling into general fund. And he said daycare is one, insurance is one, because like the insurance fund runs like 7 checks a year. And you can just have codes within general fund that you can pull a report at any time to know where are we at with daycare, where are we at with insurance. Something to kind of think about and see if there's a reason you don't want that to happen. You know, I think at this point that's how we've always done it, which may not always be the best answer. So, and where daycare fund, it has to be funded by general fund if it runs short. It would already be in there. You wouldn't be transferring money to a fund. Capital reserve is under budget. We haven't made the allocation from the general fund. That fund is fairly tight because we meet and have a meeting. This is how much we have to spend, how are we going to spend it. Then we make a project list and we have to kind of stick with that. So that meeting is coming up very quickly because the deadlines are coming like a freight train. UPK, the preschool, it's actually kind of coming around. It's performing better than expected with their funding, but you know, it's still a mystery. It's their first year. They sort of ran out of the gates of what are we doing? And so it's been a little bit of a mystery, but it hasn't been horrible. Food service is doing great. They're a little under budget just because of the supplies, but you know, that's a timing thing again. Once she orders things, then she submits to get the money back, and it's all in a timing type thing. Federal funds, as we've talked before, that's the RENA fund where she applies for grants, and then there's always a lag time. You spend the money, you apply for the money, you get the money, and it's not until the end of the year that all ties out nice. Bond fund, once again, is showing a deficit due to the timing of the property tax revenue. That will right itself by the end of the year. Building fund, same thing. It's just the timing of Legion Field renovations, which we're all so thrilled that they're going on. And we also have our first bill for HVAC from Millen, because I've been very, very straight with them, saying this money has got to be out the door spent by this date. I don't want you just to send me a bill. It has to be out the door. So I work very closely with Aaron, and sometimes he doesn't believe me, and I said, you don't want the wrath of RENA coming down on you. We have got to get this done.
That is right, the wrath of RENA.
Yeah. So anyway, if there's ever anything I can do to make this clearer, I'm just trying to get you the information you need to say, oh, this is where we're at. This is where that comes from. That's pretty much all I have on December financials.
I love this first page. It really helped me kind of focus.
Good.
Finances are, you know, I was a literacy coach on that.
Yeah. Well, and it's a necessary evil for board members. You can't just not look at them,
Right.
but I try to make them not as boring as they can be. You can get lost in the weeds if you don't know where a number comes from. So.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, moving right along, we have the consent agenda, which consists of the personnel action report. Pleasure to board. Move to approve.
Second.
Okay, roll call please.
Chris Brown?
Aye.
Amy Grantham?
Aye.
Nancy Hopper?
Aye.
Katie Jess?
Aye.
John Patty?
Aye.
Cindy Smith?
Aye.
Sarah Whitney?
6, action items. A, approve board members abstain from voting for the 2024-25 employment contracts of the listed employees. And so you'll see there that document, because several of us have, in a community this size, we have relatives that we have related to and that we serve on the board. So we'll have an action for Mrs. Brown to abstain from voting for her son, Mr. Barkley, myself for my son, and my daughter-in-law, Mr. Prouty, for his wife, and Mrs. Smith for her sister-in-law and her sister and brother-in-law, Val and Sam Hopper. Pleasure of the board. Move to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please. Is there any discussion? I don't believe that there is.
I can just let you know, so
these people's names are also on the continued employment list, but by us acting on these, and when you get to your vote and you abstain, then everything's beautiful.
So roll call.
Chris Brown? Aye. Amy Grantham?
Aye.
Nancy Hopper?
Aye.
Katie Jess?
Aye.
John Crowdy?
Aye.
Mindy Smith?
Aye.
Sarah Whitney?
B, approve the 24-25 employment contract of Mr. Michael Barkley. Pleasure of the board.
Move to approve. Second.
Roll call, please.
Chris Brown? Abstain. Amy Grantham?
Aye.
Nancy Hopper?
Aye.
Katie Jess?
Aye.
John Crowdy?
Aye.
Mindy Smith?
Aye.
Sarah Whitney?
C, approve the 24-25 employment contract of Mr. Sam Hopper. Pleasure of the board. Move to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Chris Brown?
Aye.
Amy Grantham?
Aye.
Nancy Hopper?
Abstain.
Katie Jess?
Aye.
John Crowdy?
Aye.
Mindy Smith?
Abstain.
Sarah Whitney?
D, approve the 24-25 employment contract of Mrs. Amy Prouty. Pleasure of the board.
Move to approve. Second.
Roll call, please.
Chris Brown?
Aye.
Amy Grantham?
Aye.
Nancy Hopper?
Aye.
Katie Jess?
Aye.
John Crowdy?
Abstain.
Mindy Smith?
Aye.
Sarah Whitney?
E, approve the 24-25 employment contract of Mrs. Valerie Hopper. Pleasure of the board. Move to approve. Roll call, please.
Chris Brown?
Aye.
Amy Grantham?
Aye.
Nancy Hopper?
Abstain.
Katie Jess?
Aye.
John Crowdy?
Aye.
Mindy Smith?
Abstain.
Sarah Whitney?
F, renewals of certified staff for the 24-25 school year. Pleasure of the board.
Move to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Chris Brown?
Aye.
Amy Grantham?
Aye.
Nancy Hopper?
Aye.
Katie Jess?
Aye.
John Crowdy?
Aye.
Mindy Smith?
Aye.
Sarah Whitney?
G, application renewal for Lincoln High School Alternative Education Campus Designation. Pleasure of the board.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Chris Brown?
Aye.
Amy Grantham?
Aye.
Nancy Hopper?
Aye.
Katie Jess?
Aye.
John Crowdy?
Aye.
Mindy Smith? Aye. Sarah Whitney?
H, Fort Morgan High School FFA Future Farmers of America State Career Development Event, April 28th and 29th in Fort Collins. Pleasure of the board.
Move to approve. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Chris Brown?
Aye.
Amy Grantham?
Aye.
Nancy Hopper?
Aye.
Katie Jess?
Aye.
John Crowdy?
Aye.
Mindy Smith?
Aye.
Sarah Whitney?
I, Fort Morgan High School FFA Future Farmers of America Convention, June 4th through the 6th in Pueblo, Colorado. Pleasure of the board.
Move to approve. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Chris Brown?
Aye.
Amy Grantham?
Aye.
Nancy Hopper?
Aye.
Katie Jess?
Aye.
John Crowdy?
Aye.
Mindy Smith?
Aye.
Sarah Whitney?
J, donation from the Optimist Club of Fort Morgan to the Fort Morgan Middle School. Pleasure of the board.
Move to approve. Second.
Any discussion? Very nice. Roll call, please.
Chris Brown?
Aye.
Amy Grantham?
Aye.
Nancy Hopper?
Aye.
Katie Jess?
Aye.
John Crowdy?
Aye.
Mindy Smith?
Aye.
Sarah Whitney?
Let it be stated that the award amount is $1,500 to be used for student recognition awards. Moving on to 7, advanced planning. We have A, the board education meeting in May for May 6th and 20. B, school bus driver appreciation day is April 23rd. All their troubles are behind them. No, not really. They have a tough job sometimes. Fort Morgan High School Mighty Mustangs Award ceremony is May 1st. D, the last day of school for our Fort Morgan High School seniors is May 8th. B, the Fort Morgan High School senior banquet is May 9th. She says it's birthday. Is May 9th. F, National Teacher Appreciation Week is May 6th to May 10. National Teacher Appreciation Day is Tuesday, May 7th. The Lincoln High School graduation ceremony is May 10th. The Fort Morgan High School baccalaureate is May 17th. The Fort Morgan High School graduation parade is May 18th. The Fort Morgan High School graduation ceremony is May 19th. The Fort Morgan Middle School continuation ceremony is May 30th. And the last day of school is May 31st. If there is no further business to come before the board, we will adjourn at 7:54.